Watch, where we bring you Catholic conversations on marriage, parenting, and family life. Ako po si Carmela Mendoza ng EduChild Foundation at kasama ko po ang aking guest co-host na si Mrs. Noemi Marasigan, also of EduChild.
Thank you, Carmel. At Family Watch, we believe that the path to the renewal of society and the transformation of the church begins in and through the families by strengthening marriages, empowering parents, and making families closer to Christ.
Sa mga nagtatanong sa new face natin ngayon, my co-host po ay dati po nating guest dito sa Family Watch. So si Tita Noemi po and her sweetheart, Tita VM, are the president couple of EduChild Foundation. May 5 po silang anak, mga edad 15 to 27. Wow, ang laki ng range, di ba? Siya ay nagtapos ng Family Life Education Program ng Center for Research and Communication, or CRC.
Thank you, Carmel. Thank you for that introduction. And it's my honor to be your co-host.
Yes, thank you po, Tita Noemi.
Yeah, so very timely yung topic natin kasi this August is actually the National Breastfeeding Awareness Month, no?
Yes.
To protect, promote, and support breastfeeding in the Philippines as the normal, natural, and preferred method of feeding in babies and in children. Wala nang hahanapin pa. No?
Yes.
So sa episode nito, malalaman natin ang mas maraming dahilan kung bakit breast is best.
Yes. Para naman samahan tayo sa ating talakayan, ay nag-imbita tayo ng isang breastfeeding advocate na nagbabalik sa Family Watch. She is an Amazon best-selling and multi-awarded book author. Sa mga nagtatanong, ano ba yung Amazon na yan? Isipin nyo, Shopee, Lazada, lahat nandun sa Amazon. So, bentang-benta po yung libro niya doon sa Amazon. Her blog won in the Best Blog category of the 4th Catholic Mass Media Awards. 3 beses po siyang binigyan ng Cardinal Sin Catholic Book Award. She has published 9 books so far. Wow, ang dami.
Ang galing, no? And
Yes.
she has been married for 13 years and they are blessed with 3 sons whom she has homeschooled since birth.
Wow.
Superwoman talaga to.
Yes.
And they are part of the Light of Jesus community. They serve in the parish, all the members of their families, of their family Carmel, in different capacities and various ministries in the parish.
I can just imagine, di ba? So welcome back to Family Watch, Miss Teresa Dumadag.
Hello, I'm happy to be back. Thank you for inviting me again here in the show.
And so I remember yung last discussion po yata sa mga nakanood dati is tungkol sa homeschooling, di ba po? Pero ngayon, medyo sesegue tayo sa, syempre, yung topic natin for this month, which is breastfeeding. So, siguro sisimulan po natin, di ba? Kasi parang ang daming nag-aalangang mga magulang, syempre ang dami ring commercial products na mga ready milk, ganyan. So, ano po ba yung mga physical or kung ano man, mga benefits of breastfeeding both sa bata at sa nanay? Diba? Kung meron man, may pagkakaiba ba yung dalawang yon? Diba? At to follow up that question, hanggang kailan po ba talaga yung rekomendado ninyong kung gaano katagal dapat nagbe-breastfeed ang isang ina?
Okay. So, hindi enough yung ating time today to discuss all the benefits of breastfeeding. But I will share a few. No, yung iba, basahin na lang nila sa libro ko.
Yes.
Mahaba yan, makapal. Pero I want to highlight na yung mga main benefits sa bata, unang-una, it saves the life of the baby. Yan yung number 1 that I want to highlight in our discussion tonight. It saves the life of the baby, lalo na yung mga bagong panganak. Kasi di ba pag bagong panganak yung baby, hindi pa masyadong malakas yung immune system. So yung breast milk contains a lot of ingredients, natural ingredients na nagpapalakas ng katawan ng babies, no? Hindi ko na sasabihin yung technical terms, no? Kasi para mas maintindihan na lang ng ating mga manonood, no? Na yung ingredients ng breast milk, it's living. Just like blood, 'di ba? Yung blood, it's a living uh, parang organism. So the milk of the mom is living. It's like blood. And it produces a lot of antibodies that makes the baby's immune system, that makes the baby's body very strong. It protects the baby from a very long list of illnesses, including childhood cancers and diseases that are usually acquired by babies who are bottle fed, but it saves breastfed babies from those kinds of diseases. Kasi unang-una nga, there are no contaminants if you will breastfeed the baby directly. Diretso na sa breast ng nanay niya. So, there are no other contaminants there. Diretsong breast milk. So, kapag nagba-bottle feed kasi, maraming factors na pwedeng makuha ng baby, yung mga dumi, bacteria, doon sa lalagyan at sa tubig, no? So sa ating bansang Pilipinas, kung saan maraming mga mahihirap na might not have access to really clean water, this is dangerous, no? Yung bottle feeding. Kaya ina-advocate natin, lalo na sa mga mahihirap na mga lugar, na mag-breastfeed sila because that is the safest and it will really protect their babies during the first few years of life. Maraming mga babies namamatay dahil sa infection in the first month pa lang. Okay? And this saves a lot of babies if we will be able to breastfeed them. No? And in the first year of life, ang daming sakit na pwedeng mangyari kasi nga nagde-develop pa lang di ba? Yung mga bata. But because of breast milk, kasi yung ingredients ng breast milk, it adjusts based on the needs of the baby. Ganon ka-amazing yung breast milk, no? 'Di ba yung mga kino-commercial, ina-advertise, 'di ba? May iba-ibang lata, iba-ibang formulation sa iba't ibang stages ng bata, no? Yung breast milk ng nanay, as the baby grows, no? Nag-a-adjust yung production ng milk ng katawan ng nanay. That's how amazingly made the bodies of women are. Diba? Grabe, no? God designed our bodies this way. Grabe, miraculously and amazingly made. So, ganun kagaling yung gatas ng nanay. No? The body adjusts as the baby sucks from the breast of the mother. Nag-a-adjust yung production, yung supply, yung parang what is composed, what the components of the breast milk, nag-a-adjust yon lahat. Kung may sakit yung nanay at saka yung baby, mag-a-adjust din yung body to produce the antibodies needed by both the mother and the child. So, ang dami. I'm barely scratching the surface, no? Now, ito yung some of the benefits to the baby. Pero, sa nanay, to the mother, meron ding magagandang benefits, no? Napaka-Christian nga kasi, di ba, the more you give, the more you receive. The longer that you breastfeed, the more protection the mother receives from many kinds of illnesses. Breastfeeding helps maintain or lower cholesterol and sugar. And it also protects the mother from breast cancer, ovarian cancer, and many other diseases. So examples na lang yan, no? Kasi mahaba pa yung listahan. No? Pero ito yung mga common, no? So, ang laking benefit nun. Kaya, I encourage mothers to breastfeed their children because it saves them sa childbirth pa lang, sa panganganak, no? 'Di ba? Kapag nanganak ka, may natural bleeding na nangyayari, 'di ba? Upon childbirth. the moment na nag-start yung baby, nag-breastfeed sa nanay niya, nagko-contract yung uterus that helps stop the bleeding. Imagine mo yon, it helps stop the bleeding or lessen the bleeding. And there are many women who die during childbirth because of bleeding. So yun yung main benefits that I want to share tonight.
Ang galing. Buti na lang ako, nag-breastfeed ako ng 5 anak ko, pero hindi ko alam lahat yan. Teresa, but di ba yung isa pang effect pati, totoo ba yon na parang mas napapatibay yung bond between the mother and child? Pero may effect ba kung, di ba, after a while, iniipon na lang sa bote yung breast milk? Ibig sabihin ba nababawasan rin yung bond that was being created no talagang directly breastfeeding?
Yes. Actually, mas maganda, sagutin ko muna yung second, no? Mas maganda sana kung direct. Kasi syempre, ikaw mismo as mother, ikaw yung nagbibigay pa rin ng milk, no? Diretso. Kasi pag nilagay mo na sa bote, no? Pwede mong i-delegate, no? Pwede mong i-delegate sa iba yung pagpapainom ng gata. So naturally, may konting bawas sa benefits kasi yung bond between mother and child nade-delegate do sa other caregiver na magpapainom ng bottled breast milk. But yung physical benefits, no, yung physical benefits of breastfeeding or drinking the breast milk continues, no? Kasi syempre yung component nga ng kanyang breast milk nakukuha ng bata. So through that, nasa-strengthen yung katawan ng bata. Okay. Tapos yung first question, the first question naman. So yung mother kasi 'di ba tayo mga nanay nakakatuwa kasi yung bonding talaga between us and our children. Ito yung isa sa chine-cherish natin, 'di ba? So ako, one of the things that I am grateful for sa breastfeeding is yung it forced me. Hindi naman sa kailangan i-force tayong mga nanay, 'di ba? Pero natural na yan sa atin. Pero because of breastfeeding, tayong mga nanay, we are encouraged or we are forced because of that decision to regularly bond with our baby. 'Di ba? Kasi maya't maya, lalo na pag bagong panganak, 'di ba? You have to breastfeed more, parang there are shorter gaps between feedings, no? So mas madalas mo siyang makakasama, mas madalas kang sumasagot dun sa needs ng bata, 'di ba? Compared sa kung iba yung kung bottle feeding nga. So it doesn't have to be the mother. So the mother doesn't need to be with the child. Ano yun, yung ganung setup, parang it takes away one of the wonderful benefits of breastfeeding to both the child and the mother. Kasi 'di ba, it's beneficial to the child to be close to the mother. Yung mga low weight, yung mga underweight na babies, 'di ba nga inaano sila skin to skin contact to help increase their weight, 'di ba? So the more interactions with the mother and the child, mas lalo silang nagiging healthy. No? And then, of course, it builds their bond. It strengthens their bond with more time spent with each other.
Yes. Actually, may mga kaibigan niya ako, siguro this past year, since pandemic, di ba? Marami akong mga kaibigan na, new mothers. Tapos, lagi nila sinasabi is, grabe, puyat. Kasi nga, talagang tuloy-tuloy yung pag-feed nila. Ito, mga rin sila, advocate din ng breastfeeding. Sobrang puyat kasi walang tigil every so often. Pero ang saya, laging may ganong factor na ang sarap, ang saya. So parang puyat ka, pagod ka, pero ang saya kasi talagang nakakasama nila palagi yung baby nila, 'di ba? Parang gigising ka, kahug mo na naman, mag-breastfeed na naman sila. So parang hindi nila ma-explain yung sarap ng pagbabonding nila sa kanilang mga anak eh. Diba? So, yes. Ito naman, so mula do'n, ay wait, huling-huling tanong na lang. Myth ba ito or katotohanan? Kasi 'di ba, yung isa pang physical benefit na baka maging incentive din sa mga bagong panganak na mga mommy sa na mag-breastfeed ay yung sabi nila nakakapayat daw ito. Kung 'di ba, after mong manganak, kung gusto mo daw bumilis yung metabolism o medyo mabawasan yung mga na-gain na weight, 'di ba? So, yeah. Totoo ba 'yon? Yung isa bang
Totoo
physical
siya.
benefit 'yon?
Totoo. Hindi siya chismis.
Okay.
Yes, totoo. Because it takes a lot more for the mom to produce milk. So you burn more calories to produce milk and you burn calories to breastfeed. So para kang nagsiswimming, yung amount of energy na kailangan mo to swim, so pwede siyang i-compare dun sa amount of energy or what your body needs to do to produce milk and to breastfeed. So totoo yun na ano ka, you burn more, you lose weight more because of breastfeeding. So napapabilis ang pagbalik sa pre-pregnancy weight ng maraming nanay. Kaya nga yung ibang mga nanay din, parang feeling nila lagi silang gutom kasi pag nagbe-breastfeed ka, you're sharing the nutrients of your body with your child. 'Di ba dati nasa loob siya ng tiyan mo, 'di ba? Nasa loob siya ng body tapos nagfi-feed sa placenta. Ngayon nasa labas na siya ng body mo pero ikaw pa rin yung nagfi-feed sa anak mo. And you are losing weight as you do breastfeeding, as you breastfeed your child. So totoo siya.
So,
Naalala ko, Carmel and Teresa, merong isang time na pregnant, buntis ako, and then nabasa ko sa isang food magazine yung isang cake na parang ang sarap-sarap, pero yung isang slice daw nun, 1,000 calories. So ang ano ko noon, resolution ko, pagkapanganak ko, kakain ako ng cake na to. Kasi sigurado ako malulus ko yung yung calories na yun. Teka, Teresa, baka makalimutan natin.
oo.
Diba, meron kang sinulat na libro tungkol sa breastfeeding. Ano yun?
Best-selling book po
Best-selling
ito. Kailangan nating i-emphasize. Okay, go Tita Noemi.
Ano yung naging inspirasyon mo? At saka parang nung binabasa ko yung reviews, meron siyang spiritual dimension na never kong na-realize until I read that. I think that's the first chapter yata of your book, no?
Opo. Yes, let me show you for
Yan!
this is my book which I wrote. I wrote this after kong mas-successfully breastfeed yung pangalawang anak ko. So, all my children were breastfed for at least 2 years. So, the youngest, siya yung pinakamatagal ko, yung third child ko. He was breastfed until he was 5 years old. Ayaw niya tuloy. Siya yung pinakamatagal.
Wow.
Pinakamatagal. So anyway, I wrote this book because unang-una, I could not find a breastfeeding book that was written by a Filipino. I was looking for a breastfeeding book that was more apt in the Philippine setting and that can be more relatable to Filipino mothers. So wala akong mahanap, puro imported. So sabi ko, bakit walang Filipino authored breastfeeding book? Tapos ako, I have that tendency na yung pag wala akong mahanap, ako na lang yung gagawa.
Buti na lang.
Kaya ko kayang sumulat ng libro. And then, I prayed about it. And God assured me that this is something that He wanted me to do. Kasi, yun nga parang I learned a lot in breastfeeding my children. I discovered how amazingly made our bodies are. And when I was when I was still single, one of my fears was giving birth and having a child because I wasn't confident that I can do it. No, but when I got pregnant and I attended classes, na-discover ko na no, I should not be afraid because God made my body amazing, no? It's miraculously made. So doon ko na-discover na yung kaninang kinikwento ko nga, no, na grabe how God designed the woman's body. Talagang He designed it to give life to her child and to be strong enough to bear a child or to bear children. So I wanted other women like me to have that confidence and not to be afraid to become pregnant and to give birth, and to have the confidence that the child that God has given you, He will also give you the ability and the capacity to nurture the child through breastfeeding. So I wanted more women to know na your body is able, your body is strong because God designed your body perfectly for that purpose. No? So yun yung mga main reasons. And then also, I wanted to empower more Filipino women. Kasi, di ba nga, ang daming mga Pilipino, di ba? Hirap na nga, pero pinipilit bumili ng mahal na mga milk formula. Eh, yung milk formula, they are just trying to imitate the breast milk. Di ba? Kaya nga, yung iba, ina-advertise sila, ito mataas, madaming DHA. Di ba? So, para tumalino daw ang mga anak ninyo, painumin nyo ng gatas na maraming DHA. So, I wrote my book because I wanted to tell mothers na huwag kayo nang bumili ng mahal na mga gatas because your milk, natural human milk, milk made especially for babies, human babies, has the best and the most number of or the most amount of DHA na natural. Gusto mo tubalin yung anak mo dahil sa DHA, wala nang tatalo pa sa gatas ng nanay. At saka yung components, no, I will not detail the technical terms, no, but the components of breast milk are what the baby needs to have optimum brain development, not formula milk. Kasi that pales in comparison, very far comparison to the milk that God designed mommies to produce. So, ganon kagaling yung milk ng mga nanay. I wanted to spread the word and I wanted to create a book na maraming nanay ang makaka-relate, no? Kaya dun sa book ko, the first part is technical, yung how to breastfeed, yung medicinal benefits. But in the first chapter, I also discussed the spiritual aspect. Kasi nga, I'm a devout Christian, I'm a devout Catholic. I wanted to evangelize more women na not just by carrying your child in your womb, but also by breastfeeding, you are being God's channel of love. Kasi hindi naman nila alam kaagad yung love of God, di ba? But when you respond to your child's need through breastfeeding, every time you do it, you become a channel of God's love. You become a channel of God's provision. You become a channel of God's mercy. Kasi ikaw bilang nanay, sa bawat iyak ng anak mo, you listen to that cry and you respond. And through that, you are the first catechist. You show your child how loving God is. No? So that is something that I really wanted mothers to know. Na what a privilege, di ba? What a privilege to reflect the love of God, God's faithfulness, God's mercy, God's love to your baby. No, what without using words pa. 'Di ba? Kasi baby pa 'yun no? Even without using words muna, but just being present. Kasi yung isa sa mga things that I learned, the mother's body is designed to respond to the cry of her child. No? So when you hear the cry of your child, your breast is given the signal to produce milk because your child needs your milk. Grabe, di ba? It's so amazing. But if you are not near your child, you will not hear your child's cry. And your body will not produce milk. Kaya nga ako rin, I advocate, aside from breastfeeding, I advocate for mothers, especially with young children, to stay home.
Galing.
Sabi, talagang ang ganda nung channel of God's love di ba? Parang talagang love is deeds, physical deed talaga yung pagbe-breastfeed at talagang ang ganda. Salamat naman. I hope a lot more people get to read your words, 'di ba? Get to talagang nag-vlogging pero sana talaga mas marami pang makabasa ng libro ninyo. Diba?
Thank you.
So very convincing naman talaga yung sharing ni Teresa ngayong araw na ito. Pero sa mga medyo nag-aalangan pa rin or siguro nahihirapan, nag-try, nahirapan, nagsistruggle pagdating sa breastfeeding, ano ba yung usual na mga napagdadaanan ng mga ganyang nanay, 'di ba? Ano ba yung usual struggle nila? At paano ba yun malalampasan? Just to, konting push pa for them siguro to really continue. If they tried it, to continue breastfeeding. Kung nahirapan, tumigil, paano nila um, ipagpapatuloy ang pagbe-breastfeed?
Isa sa mga common problems, no, or challenges na naririnig ko at saka ako rin naranasan ko, especially when I was a first time mom, is yung milk supply, no? Talagang alam mo, nakakatuwa sa Bible kasi it is one of the blessings or considered a favor from God if a mother has enough supply of milk for her child. And a lot of mothers have experienced that in one way or another, yung fear na I might not have milk or my milk might not be enough, no? So, ang isa sa mga natutunan ko that I also shared in my book is that the more that you breastfeed, the more often that you breastfeed and the longer that you breastfeed, the more milk will you produce, no? So, kailangan mas matagal kang mag-breastfeed at mas madalas. Kasi nga, the sucking of the child on your breast gives the signal to your body to produce more milk. No? Kaya I also advocate yung direct latch or yung tinatawag na diretso sa breast ng nanay. Kasi na-activate siya eh. Yung sucking ng bata, it's different from yung kapag gumamit ka ng machine. Okay? So, it's different. Although, marami rin namang natutulungan ng machine. Pero, kung kaya, as often as possible, I advocate direct latch. Kasi kakaiba yun eh. Kasi yung bata, nagsasak lang siya kung kailangan niya. At saka kung ano lang yung enough para sa kanyang, kung ano yung kailangan niya dahil gutom siya. Hindi naman siya tuloy-tuloy eh. Unlike yung machine, if you turn it off, that's the only time that it will stop. Pero yung bata, the child pauses in between. The child stops kapag busog na. No? So, yung breastfeeding, nare-regulate din niya yung pag-inom ng bata. No? So, it also gives the signal to the mother's body kung magpo-produce pa siya o magsa-stop, kung gaano kadami o kailangan pa ng mas madami kasi gusto pa ng bata. No? So, sa mga mothers na nagsa-struggle with breast milk supply, try to let the child latch as often and as long as possible. Actually, I also discovered it that yung nagsasak yung bata, hindi lang dahil gutom siya. Nagsasak siya for comfort. No? So the breast is not just for nourishment of the body, but it's also nourishment emotionally. No? So yung bata, kailangan niya yung nanay niya to comfort him. Hindi lang para busugin yung tiyan niya. Busugin din yung puso niya. Yun yung kailangan ng baby. And if you will not breastfeed, hindi siya masyadong mapupunuan kasi hindi mo siya hahawakan, hindi mo rin siya ipapasak sa breast mo. Kasi iniisip mo na hindi naman ikaw nagbe-breastfeed. Pero yung breastfeeding, hindi lang siya gatas. Kailangan din niya yung comfort ng nanay niya. So, yun. Nakakakuha siya ng breast milk, nakakakuha siya ng emotional security and support from the mom. So, yung mga kulang sa breast milk, another tip is yung mga malunggay capsules or yung mga pagkain na nag-i-increase
Sabaw.
ng marami sila maraming mga ganong klaseng pagkain. I also wrote about them in my book. Masyado ba dami? Kulang
Oo,
yung
yes. Masyadong marami. So, talagang kailangan nilang basahin yan. For sure, ilang chapters ang, di ba, malalaman natin about that. So, thank you very much, Tita Noemi.
Ang galing-galing. Kulang na kulang yung oras natin.
Yes. Sana
Pero
may
ang
isa pa po,
dami
no,
na-
Tita Noemi.
Ha?
Sana may isa pa pong episode tungkol dito.
Oo na. Ang dami-dami nating natutunan. Kaya lang, kailangan na natin magtapos. Teresa, meron ka ba mga, last words or some more inspiration para sa ating mga manonood at saka yung mga nakikinig sa atin?
I just want to end our conversation by testifying of how breastfeeding has really blessed my family, my children and me, no. So sabi ko nga, no, it produces um strong bonds between the mother and the children. And I have witnessed this, I have experienced this. And aside from that, I also believe that nakadagdag siya sa pagiging smart ng mga anak ko. Nakatulong siya kasi nga yun nga, you spend more time interacting with them aside from the components of breast milk na mataas ang DHA and many other components, no. So maganda siya talagang gawin. And to me talagang I was able to wear yung mga damit ko nung dalaga pa ako, nung single pa ako, after my pregnancy. Ganon. There was a gown na sinuot ko sa isang wedding. Is a slim fit gown na sinuot ko nung single pa ako. And after 2 children, after siguro breastfeeding for almost 2 years, nasuot ko uli yung gown na yun. No? Yun yung isa sa proudest moment ko na parang, wow, kasya pa yung gown ko nung single ako. Dalawa na yung anak ko. Yung gano'n. Ang saya-saya. So, totoo talaga yun. And then, lastly, the greatest privilege is yun nga, being a channel of God's love to my children. No? Parang even without saying words, I was able to bring God's love to them. I was able to show to them how loving God is. No? Yung bawat iyak mo, pinapakinggan ni God sa pamamagitan ng nanay mo. Okay, di ba? Grabe. Parang I feel, it's so moving. It's so moving. And parang God has chosen us, women, mothers, to be a pale representation of His love. But just the same, we are His channels of His great, great, great unconditional love. Di ba? Yung baby, wala pa naman siyang mabibigay talaga sa'yo. Pero you pour out so much. You pour out time, love, everything to your child.
Wow.
And then lastly, dahil Breastfeeding Awareness Month nga ngayon, I want to take this opportunity. We are on sale. Buy one, take one. So you can get it from my Facebook page. Just send me a message. Breastfeeding, a journey worth taking for the whole month of August. So take advantage of this. I barely scratched the surface kasi we have very little time. But when you get a copy of this book, you will be able to read so many things. And not just the how-tos of breastfeeding, but the stories of many women from all walks of life. Working from home, working outside the home, working business moms, no? So stay-at-home moms. There are stories, not just my story, but I also compiled stories of other women who successfully breastfed their children. And of course, I also discussed many Bible passages related to breastfeeding. So that is the first chapter.
Wow.
Pangalawa lang yung technical or physical aspect.
Mm. Wow,
Yay!
thank you very much, Miss Teresa, for sharing so many insights, very inspiring experiences, even your, 'di ba, your personal experiences when it comes to your advocacy of breastfeeding. So, Tita Noemi, thank you rin for co-hosting
Wow, thank
this
you.
episode with me. And we customarily end with a quotation from Amoris Laetitia. Pwede niyo po bang basahin yung ating parting message mula kay Pope Francis?
Okay, thank you very much, Carmel. Thank you, Teresa. So this is from paragraph 28 of Amoris Laetitia. The union between the Lord and his faithful ones is expressed in terms of parental love. Here, we see a delicate and tender intimacy between mother and child. The image is that of a babe sleeping in his mother's arms after being nursed. The infant is now fed and clings to his mother, who takes him to her bosom. There is a closeness that is conscious and not simply biological. As the psalmist sings, I have calmed and quieted my soul like a child quieted at its mother's breast. Very fitting.
Yeah. So if you got this far, thank you po for watching. Kung nagustuhan niyo po ang video, bigyan niyo po sana kami ng thumbs up. For comments on how we can improve or suggestions on what topics you would like us to cover, please type them in the comment box below. Please know that we read all your comments. See you next week.